Now to finish off this lesson, we're only going to deal with 3 more things. We're going to deal with pull-offs, hammer-ons, and then we're going to take a look at our tab and discuss a little bit about note duration. If we go to measure 13, we're going to put a pull-off in measure 13. A pull-off is where you play the note, in this case on the 3rd fret. Instead of playing the note on the 1st fret, you let your finger of your left hand pull it off to the 1st fret. So you're going to pluck the string with your finger or your pick and use your left hand finger to pull off, making the 1st fret sound. And in order to put a pull off in here, we'll put our cursor on the 3, we'll come up here and click the pull off. And you can see we've entered in a pull off. Now we're going to do the same thing in measure 14, except this is going to be a hammer-on. And this is where you pluck the open 2nd string, and you're going to take the finger of your left hand and you're going to hit the 1st fret and cause it to make a sound, which is a hammer-on. So we come up here to the HO, click that, and now we have entered in a hammer-on. The last thing we're going to discuss is very important, and that's individual note duration. If we scroll back through our tab to measure 1, you will see that all of our notes up through measure 8 are of the right duration. You have a quarter note, a half note, which leads us to 2 more quarter notes, a half note, 2 more quarter notes, a quarter note, and a dotted half note. And this is correct until we get up to measure 8. And up here in measure 8, we're going to want this note to actually ring throughout the whole measure while we are playing the other 3 notes. So you have 3 quarter notes down here. You have 1 quarter note up here, but you want this quarter note to be a whole note. So we'll come up and we'll click the whole note. And we have changed this note so that it rings throughout the measure while we're playing these 3 other notes. And to give us more variety, we're going to go over to measure 10. And as you can see in measure 10 here, we have a C chord. And we're going to want part of this C chord to ring throughout the whole measure while we play these 2 notes. Now on our melody note, which is the E note up here with an open 1st string, we have a half note and then we play the note again. Part of our harmony would be the C note on the 2nd string, and we're going to actually want it to ring up until we get to the 3 here. So we're going to want to change this to a dotted half note. So we click the half note and the dot. And we've given this a duration of 3 beats, or a dotted half note. The rest of these notes we'll want to ring throughout the whole measure. So we'll highlight all 3 of these notes and give them a half or a whole note. And we'll take the dot off. So now we have a chord that rings that throughout the whole measure, plus 2 more melody notes. We're going to do the same thing over here in measure 11. We're going to leave this note a half note because our next melody note on that string comes after the half note. Bottom 2 notes we're going to let ring throughout the whole measure, which will be a whole note. See how we've changed that to a whole note. Moving on, we're going to want to do the same thing in measure 12. Our first string we'll leave as a quarter note because the next note over is a quarter note. Our next string is going to be a half note. So we'll click the half note. Our next string actually is going to be a dotted half note. So we'll click the half note with the dot. And our next string is going to ring all the way through the end of the measure, which will be a whole note. So we click the whole note and get rid of the dot. And we'll continue doing the same thing all the way up through measure 16. At measure 14, we will take these three notes, highlight them, turn them into whole notes. In measure 15, we will take these two notes and turn them into whole notes. Now let's see what our tune sounds like after making those changes to it. Let's go ahead and hit F12 and go through that complete first verse.